So we'll continue now. We've ended entrepreneurship, but there's something very interesting that I want to share about. Lola wrote a book called Birthdays That End in Zeros. Okay, so we have the book here. It's a series of short stories. Okay, so it's called Birthdays That End in Zeros. Okay, so if you're looking at it on that side, it will be weird, except you can read. Okay, so but it's called Birthdays That End in Zeros. A series of short stories that touch heaven and change the earth. The forward was by Pastor Toyin Ojoyemade, and it's a book that you must read because it shows insights to you just we are all alive. You get to 20 to 30, and surprisingly time flies in, and before you know it you're like, wow, I'm 30, I'm 40, I'm 50, and the years go by. So she has given you insights to a collection of stories about self-discovery, perseverance, and mastery. So I'll just let her just give us snippets about the book and why we this is my copy. So why do you need to buy yours?
Okay, I like to usually read a portion of it to give you a feel of what the book is about. It's short stories, and someone asked me, is it fiction or is it your biography? And I told the person it's faction.
Faction. Okay.
Faction meaning there's some facts,
okay,
but it's fiction.
Okay.
To help you, to put some life into it and to make the theme, entertaining to an extent. So I'm going to read from the second chapter. It's called The Wealthy Place. As the fourth in a family of 6, my only surviving grandmother was my maternal grandmother. Already in her 70s, by the time I was old enough to make conversation and befriend her, she was more my friend and sage than my grandmother. Alaja, as we fondly called her, was the proverbial elephant with many forms and shapes to all her grandchildren. A cook to the famished, Florence Nightingale to the sick, and shelter for the homeless. To others who always sought to understand the art and science of living, she was a sage. I was one of the privileged latter. She had a warm way of opening up your appetite for purpose, starting with an entree, usually a song to attract your attention. If the song appealed as you come close, she would invariably pause to acknowledge your presence with an embrace, no matter how many people were beside her. Then she would start a comical dance, always accomplished by a hearty, ringing laughter, and she would draw you into a short dance. My grandmother always told her grandkids that we had the supernatural ability to dance in our blood. We were also convinced because she said she put it there. And many of us shuffled around confidently, no matter how disjointedly. The next step she employed was to internalize each life lesson, was to sit you down and engage you in a serious transfer of song skill. Ipò ọlá, ó dára o, ipò ọlá. Ipò yẹn wù mí lọ́pọ̀lọpọ̀, mo sì máa débẹ̀ o. This was one of such songs, a short, danceable tune with interesting lyrics that made us long for the wealthy place in life. We mostly turned out successful, albeit a little too competitive, which was the undoing of many. Well, the song told us no price was too high to pay for a wealthy place. This song was my mantra. Through endless nights of studying, countless days of going hungry while saving money to start a business, and even the nights of keeping hideous company of the wrong kind. All this was because my lovely grandma had passed on a tool of perseverance and hard work that I was left to translate through the filters of my present day to enable me to reach the wealthy place. I could recall a dozen of great places that song took me, but that's for a tourism manual and not a book to touch hearts. In a queer way, this one is meant to be. So I'll give you a negative example of my interpretation of this sage's advice. Yes, a story of how many drive and quest for the wealthy place got me into a dangerous place and ended with a permanent scar. So that's my favorite portion of the book. It's a book about life lessons, and it's a book I started writing while I was 12. So
Oh my God.
yes, I started to write this book while I was 12, and it spanned so many years. So I have a Chinese friend. She's Chinese American, and I remember last year I told her I was doing the big 4-0, and she said, "You know, you're an author. You should write." And I said, "I have too many books to write in me. I had written so many. I have so many manuscripts." And she said, "This one you need to write it, especially because you're having a birthday that ends with 0." So that's basically why I wrote this book.
Interesting. In fact, I'm intro that I'm looking forward to reading my own, because the short story I've heard makes me being a wannabe writer myself. So I've been inspired that, okay, so you have a story since 12 years old. Okay, so I'm not alone.
Yeah.
So it's giving me inspiration to actually go ahead with this. So many stories in my head.
Wow.
I can tell you, I have manuscripts in my head. Some I've thrown away, some in my
Wow.
computer. So I think, you've inspired me to try to get there. So thank you so much, Lola.
Thank
very
you.
much
Thank you for the
this,
opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you
Yes.
for coming, and I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, so I don't know. We would like to give our guests a tiny gift to say thank you for honoring us. Thank you for allowing us to talk to you and share your knowledge, share your gifts, and share your vision. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. This was not expected. Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right then.
Bye bye.